I've been treating this lady like she's the second coming of Jesus, and I still don't get it. I still don't understand it, but I'm calling her out today. Now, recently she had Hasan Piker on her show where he was asked the question, if it was JD Vance or Gavin Newsom, who would you vote for? He said, I would vote third party. Now, she's just looking at this from a certain angle, like, oh, well, 2028 is coming around. We need to hold our politicians accountable, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get that. But Hasan Piker is a disruptor, and not for the good reasons, all for the bad reasons. Because the thing is that he's always going to tell you how bad the Democrats are, even though Republicans are currently making our lives harder. This is a huge problem with these leftist podcasters, because honestly, to tell you the truth, they're rich as fuck. They don't give a damn about me or you. They don't care that marginalized communities are being hurt by this current administration. They want to tell us that the Democrats are just as bad and they would do the same thing. This isn't true. But go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into this video, you guys. I already know y'all not going to like me in the comment section, but I don't care. Let's get to it.
Disappointed in
Who
Gavin
do you vote
Newsom.
for, JD Vance or Gavin Newsom?
Well, I'd have to vote for Gavin Newsom.
Me
of
too.
course, 100%.
I wouldn't blink.
No
What
doubt.
about you, Hasan?
I'd probably vote third party.
You would?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, because my policy on this is the same as like my refusal to endorse Kamala Harris. The reason why I did not endorse Kamala Harris was because she did things that were not only unproductive, but also unconscionable. And I still stand on that. I still talk about it all the time because people constantly bring it up. They're like, you didn't sufficiently like promote Kamala Harris. You're the reason why she lost. I'm like, I am incapable. There is no singular force in this country that is capable of making or breaking an election. And if that was real, then it is the most idiotic thing not to listen to my demands. But everybody knows that that's not real, right? Mm-hmm. If I had this singular force to be able to make Kamala Harris the president, then Kamala Harris should be coming to me every day and being like, let me do a collab with you, please.
Totally.
Right? That's not the case, of course. And they know it. That's why they didn't do it. But the campaigns are always responsible for whether or not they are able to win the crowds.
Okay, pause that right there, Kylie.
And by the way, before I give my commentary, I do want to say I don't think Hasan Piker was the only reason. Like, he's the reason why Kamala didn't lose. I don't think he has that much power. It's not necessarily just him. It's the echo chamber of voices that are to blame, and he's a part of that. But I'll let Jen continue.
Leave it up. So what he's saying here, I think, is really true. Number one, when it comes to Gavin Newsom, for somebody like Hasan, who has felt very homeless in the American two-party system, you have Gavin. I gave him a hypothetical question: Gavin Newsom or JD Vance. Gavin Newsom,
nigga, he come from a rich family, and he's a millionaire himself. He feels so homeless because he wants Medicare for all. He wants funding for free college, free education. Listen, Hasan Piker really doesn't care. I bet you anything he's benefiting from these tax cuts from Trump. Because what does Hasan do with his money? Like, does he give his money to people or help with organization or building a coalition? Like, what does he use his money for? He doesn't care, but I'll let her continue.
Instead of going on Hasan's show, he has had Charlie Kirk on, and he has had Ben Shapiro on. Gavin Newsom has. In each case, he ceded progressive causes. He ceded trans rights, ceded ICE to Ben Shapiro very easily. He's fumbled on Israel big time, and he's a huge corporate donor. Receives a lot of PAC money, and he has said that he will not tax billionaires. All of these things are very unpopular with Democrats at large, specifically with this group of people that feel homeless in the America two-party system. So from Hasan's perspective here, he's like, I'm going to vote third party because he doesn't see any difference in the help for marginalized people. He sees one person that campaigns as slightly liberal, yet takes all of the same money from these corporate PACs. And so online, the liberals have completely wet the bed, and they're going after Hasan 2.5 years out from a general election, and are trying to pigeonhole him in that he's a terrible American and, all of this could be his fault, which is insane. If we look at historically what's been happening in American politics, Bernie started beating this drum. And his message, in my opinion, and I didn't vote for Bernie, and I have recently said I regret that vote because I have been doing a lot of internal thinking and studying.
Here's the thing about Bernie Sanders. And mind you, I voted for Bernie in 2016. I was a huge fan of Bernie. But one of the things that alarms me is the way that he talks to Black people and about Black people. I don't like it. He is not the guy, and I'm happy that he lost 2 times to Hillary Clinton and to Joe Biden. That was the right choice for him to lose. But the criticism also is that Bernie Sanders has not done anything. He's another one of those quote unquote disruptors that, I don't vote for this because they're giving money to this and that. And he'll tell you the right things to do. But anybody who's in politics know that you have to work within the system and you have to work from the inside out. And if you're just voting no on everything and not passing any policies or anything like that, then what are you there for? You have to work with what you are given. Now, if Bernie came and was all like, hey, I don't like this, but here's my solution, and then we're going to go ahead and get this passed through, that'll be fine. But Bernie hasn't done shit in the last 20 years that he's been in Congress. Like, nothing. Remember, he was a congressman, then he was a senator. He's a senator now. He hasn't done anything. His whole thing is to push these populist policies, but what has he accomplished? Like, out of all his years, have we had free Medicare? Have we had free college? What has he done successfully that he's been preaching on? Nothing. Nothing that he has been through. He's useless. I think he got renamed like a postal office. That was one of his biggest accomplishments. But other than that, he hasn't done anything. And so this fever dream of, Bernie was right, we should have been following Bernie. Listen, it's not 2016 anymore. We're 10 years removed, you guys. Move the fuck on.
As to what are my politics, because my politics have typically been my whole adult life. I'm liberal and I vote with Democrats. Well, the Democrats keep losing. And so I started digging beneath that surface. Why are Democrats losing? Specifically during Kamala Harris's campaign, when she started trotting around with Liz Cheney, it really struck me. Like, why is she trying to get these people to vote for her that will never, ever vote for her? Why isn't she courting the progressive side of the party? And here's what's so critical.
Here's the thing about that. I think that's the wrong thing to ever try to get MAGA or get Republicans on your side. They're not loyal. They're not loyal at all. If you look at their voting, they're not loyal. So there's no point in trying to get them on your side. So I agree with that. However, then you hear this, especially after the election, you heard this criticism like, we need to get more people on our side, so we have to cater to them. Basically, what they were telling us is that excuse the racism, allow them into the party if they have any kind of preconceived notions about people of color, marginalized people. Who cares? We just need them on our side. So it was like this push to be more understanding to the other side to try to convince them to come over. So this whole thing is confusing how they go back and forth with this shit. So just wanted to say that.
In the last campaign, it's not that Trump grew his vote. It's that less people that typically vote Democrat turned out. So the Democratic Party, instead of courting the progressive side, they go and court the Ben Shapiros, the Liz Cheneys, the Charlie Kirks, these elusive right-wingers that are never, ever, ever going to peel off and vote for a liberal. Because here's the thing.
Well, I'm going to even add to that. I don't think, not add, I'm going to debunk what you said. I don't think going to the more progressive side is going to work either. At the progressive side, you talking about leftists like Hasan Piker. You can never make them happy. They're never going to be happy. The people that you want to turn out, like she was kind of alluding to but didn't say, are the people that, didn't come out to vote. Those are the people. You want to let them know, like, hey, I know you're disgruntled about the way politics work and you're done with politics in general. So you just said, hey, I'm going to stay home. Those are the people that you want to come out and vote. These leftists will tell you to your face, like, oh, I'm not voting. Oh, no, I don't care. I'm not voting for them. I'm voting for Jill Stein. Those people are hard-headed. You can't help them. It's the people that chose to stay home. Those are the ones you want to inspire to come out and vote.
In middle America, everybody believes Kamala to be super progressive. The Hassans of the world are like, no, she's a corporate dim. Gavin Newsom is a corporate dim. But in the psyche of the American public, they're like, oh, they're so liberal. So moving to the center is a fool's errand and is perceived as disingenuous. So Kylie, pop up, or let's finish this clip and then I'll pop up some of the reactions.
Combat against the couch, not necessarily even against the Republican Party, but usually you're fighting against the couch, people who just don't go out and vote. And for me, the way I see it is if the Democratic establishment makes this decision one more time, just as they did with Hillary Clinton, just as they did with Kamala Harris, and in some ways, just as they did with Joe Biden as well, which led to Trump too, then they just don't care. And there's not much I can do.
Let me tell you something. I agree with everything you say, but as a person who lived in a red state for 50 years, I would crawl through 10 feet of concrete to vote for Gavin Newsom, even though I think he's duplicitous, a hypocrite, a thirst trap, hungry for power, all of the things that you say, and harms the Democratic Party and sets the psychological soil to be more prey to fascism. All of that I agree with. But there are so many young, queer, Black, brown, marginalized people in red states. And even though this corporate Democrat is, you see it in a long-term game. In the short-term game, a President Newsom over a President J.D. Vance. Okay, so that's the clip, and that's where they cut it off that went viral. And Hasan was making the point to me, and we're friends, and so we're having a political conversation, and these conversations should not be shut down. This is the most important conversation as far as Democrats winning moving forward. Hasan is saying, look, Democrats are up against the couch. What are you going to do to motivate people to get up off their ass and go vote? Going and playing patty cake with Ben Shapiro is not going to do it. Playing patty cake with Liz Cheney is not going to do it. Taking AIPAC money is not going to do it. It's going to make people like Hasan and many, many others that feel homeless in the United States political two-party political system stay on the couch. And so I think that's a really valid point. Now, I have this red state trauma of living in a red state for 50 years and seeing how damaging Republican policies are. And so I will vote for these short-term solutions to mitigate so that a woman who has been raped can receive health care, can get an abortion, because in Oklahoma right now, she can't. And I'm interested in having this conversation with Hasan because what we voted for with Biden is we voted for a sober driver. We had a drunk driver with Trump, and we needed a sober driver. And Joe Biden was our sober driver. And Joe Biden did some good things. There was a lot of policies that he did that were good, but a lot of things he did continued and incubated fascism. And it's a really important conversation we have to have. The Democrats.
Listen, there's never going to be a perfect candidate. And this is what I respect about the Republicans. Do you think all Republicans like Trump? No, they don't. However, they understand that, hey, if I'm going to get something out of this, I need to vote for the guy who's going to get me the tax cuts and the this and then that. Like, they understand. With Democrats, because it's a big umbrella and you have, progressive, centrist, liberals, leftists, you have all these different coalitions under one umbrella. It's very hard to be all on one accord. But again, the argument is that hey, you have all these different personalities and you have a certain sector of people like the Hasan leftists that go, I'm not going to vote for either candidate or don't vote for them because they're corporate. And I get tired of that whole corporate Democrat thing. Corporate Democrat and they hate this and that. And I want to correct something about AIPAC. AIPAC doesn't give to presidents or presidential candidates, only Senate and Congress. I digress. But, you know, all this conversation about they need to do this or they need to do that. Okay. No, there's no such thing as a perfect candidate, because in this whole conversation, they didn't bring up like, okay, you don't want to vote for Gavin Newsom. Who would you vote for? Or who do you want? Like, there's never a solution to who they would like, except Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is 88 years old. 188 years old. He only got a few more years on this earth. That man cannot be president, or we're going to end up in another Joe Biden situation, right? But, you know, on a serious note, like, that's a fever dream. Like, get that out of here. He's not going to be the president. And then this whole, oh, well, we need somebody like Mamdani. Mamdani just literally got into office, a mayor, like, you know, and I don't have anything against Mamdani, but to think that that's going to work for all states, the whole country, no, I don't know if that's going to work. Actually, I don't think it would work, because if it did, then Bernie Sanders would be in office, right? He would have been president, but obviously it didn't work, right? But also, there's another thing to this, how they want to follow the policies of Bernie. Bernie is not a Democrat. Bernie is an independent. So maybe you are more independent than under the Democratic umbrella. Bernie is not a Democrat. He runs as a Democrat when he wants to run for president, but he is not a Democrat. So essentially, any policies that he have, it might lean towards the left, but he is not a Democrat. So would the DNC actually want Bernie Sanders? No, probably not. And I'm not going to go back and say 2016 was rigged. He didn't have black voters. He didn't have them. I'm in California, so he had me. But as far as the South and everything, no, they weren't rocking with Bernie. And now, being a little bit more politically astute, I understand, oh, okay, I see why they weren't rocking with Bernie. I see that. But let me go back to the whole Hasan thing. There was no alternative. And a lot of these leftists, they don't have an alternative. Their alternative is usually either Bernie should have been president in 2016 or Jill Stein. Like, that's their alternative. Jill Stein will never be president. We need to let that go. But there's no actual, like, feasible solution that they have. None at all. There was no other solution. Like, the candidate has to be, quote unquote, perfect. There is no perfect candidate. We got to throw that perfect shit out the window. We need someone who is willing, or who we believe will be willing to listen and to work with the people, who can collaborate with others. We need somebody like that, right? But also, too, I want to point this out. I am not sold on Gavin Newsom either. I'm not going to lie about it. If Gavin Newsom is the nominee, yes, I will vote for him, right? But this is why we have a primary. Tell us who you would vote for. Tell us who should be considered president. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know who I'm sold on. But if Kamala were to run again, I would like to see her run on her own accord and prove that she can get through a primary. I would like to see that again. Prove that she can get through a primary. I think there's been a lot of conversation like she's a loser, she's this, she's that. At this point, I think that she probably has the nomination probably down pat at this point. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If y'all disagree with me, hey, I'm cool with that. I'm fine with y'all disagreeing, but I know I'm right. And let me know what you guys think about Hasan Piker, Jennifer Welch. Let me know what you think about it all. And I appreciate y'all for watching. Love y'all. We out of here. Deuces, everybody.